Today I'm going to show you how NIS2 access control policy looks like and how to fill out this document. And so this kind of a policy is very important for cybersecurity management because it sets the basic rules on who can actually access and under which conditions can a person access a certain ICT assets. And without it, you would simply have, I would say, a very uncontrolled process where you don't really know who can access what and under which conditions. Okay, I'm showing you now the access control policy template from NIS2 documentation toolkit from Advisera. And in this first page, you typically insert here your general information like logo, name of the document, code, version, date of the version, author, approver, confidentiality level, so some general information about the document. On the second page, you typically have change history where you display changes throughout dates and versions. Table of contents, and then you start writing the main part of the document. Oh, I'll come back to this main part in a minute. Let me first explain you what is the structure of this document. So typically section 1 is about purpose, scope and users. So this is where you define why this document is written, what is its purpose and who needs to read it. Reference documents, so you here refer to NIS2, you also refer to some cybersecurity standards like ISO 27001 and also to some other related documents for security. And then you start with this main part of the document, section 3, and here you define these user profiles. You also define how to allow privileged access to users, also how these rights are reviewed on a regular basis, and what happens if someone leaves the company, so how the access of this person is then terminated, also how the access control is technically implemented, and finally how to deal with secure authentication. Section number 4 speaks about validity in document management, so who is the owner of the document, how often it needs to be reviewed, and so on. Alright, let's go now to the main part of the document, so purpose, scope and users. So you will see that there are these square brackets with these placeholders where you have to insert some specific information for your company. In this case, this is your company name. So let's say that your company is called Test Incorporated. And you simply move on. Section 2, here you already have these references to NIS2, also to ISO 27001. And you'll notice also in these comments that you have the links to the full text of NIS2. So when you click it, you will see directly this article 21. And then you move on to the next section. And again, you have to read and see what you have to adapt specifically for your company. Here you have to define these user profiles. So you can see, let's say that user profile A, that these users have the access, let's say, to Microsoft SharePoint. And that access rights are, let's say, reading and writing. Okay, something like this. Of course, you have to fill this out also for other systems, and that, let's say, these following job titles have the access according to user profile A, let's say, all regular users, something like this. You can define, I don't know, user profile B, which could be, let's say, only for top management, and then you would have some, I don't know, some reporting systems, top level reporting systems. And access rights would be, let's say, read, write, delete, and so on. So this is something that, of course, you can adapt for your company needs. Privilege management, here you have to define in which way the asset owners authorize the privileged access. And here you also have these comments which actually suggest you on how to fill this out. Let's say you can authorize it by email, by written decision, through the system or something like this. So you can very simply insert something that is appropriate. So you can say this is done through, I don't know, MS Teams, right? And this is a very simple way to approve these kind of requests. And this is the way for you to fill out the whole document. You simply go through the whole text and see what is appropriate for you, what is not. And especially where you see these square brackets, so you have to insert specific information about your company. Now, the main decisions related to this access control policy will be around what are these regular access profiles and also who needs to approve privileges on top of these profiles. And this needs to be made, first of all, based on the results of the risk assessment. So where the risks are higher, you will have, let's say, more strict rules on allowing access, but also on what you already have in your company with regards to the process of approving access. And these decisions are usually done by a security officer or CISO in the company, and usually this person needs to send the proposal for this kind of process and rules to the senior management. And biggest challenges usually around this policy is getting the commitment of the mid-level management and also finding time to write this kind of document. Now, with regards to commitment, the best thing is really to send this document for review to other heads of the departments within the company, because they will provide very useful input on how this document needs to improve. But also, once you include these improvements in the document, you will get their commitment, because they will see that this is something that is more realistic and more doable and more usable within the company. And you should also organize awareness programs where you explain why this kind of access control is needed in the first place. And you might also need to organize some training programs where you explain to people what is this new process of approving access. And to resolve this challenge of having too much to write, I'll show you now how to use this document wizard from Advisera's AI-powered toolkit to speed up the writing of this document. Okay, once you log into this NIS2 documentation toolkit software, you simply scroll down to folder 8, cybersecurity policies and procedures, and then scroll down to the access control policy. It's here. When you click it, you will open this document wizard, and you will see these fields here that you have to fill out. So who is the name of the person to approve this document? It already says John Smith, because I entered this name for some previous documents, and then the software remembers that this is the most likely answer that it has to be inserted for this document, and this is why it suggested automatically this kind of value here. The same thing for confidentiality level. It's also from previous documents. When I click next, the question is, who will inform asset owners about changes in employment or termination of employment? You already have here the suggestion on what this could be. So this could be a person that deals with the human resource administration, HR administrator, or something like this. Let's say that this is done by HR manager, and then you simply move next. And then who is the owner, CISO, job title to approve this document, CTO. Again, these are the things that are suggested automatically because of previous documents. And then you simply click download. You will see that the document generates in a couple of seconds. And then I click open. And here you can see now this document, which is generated through this document wizard. It's a little bit different from the document I've shown you. So here you can see that the logo is inserted, as well as the company name. And this is because I uploaded this logo for some previous documents, and then it automatically uploaded it as well for this document here. And here you will see that approver, it's already this John Smith that was entered there in the wizard. Confidentiality level also here you can see. When you scroll down, you will see that this information about company name and the confidentiality level is also automatically inserted into the headers. Let's scroll down further to see what else the software already inserted. So company name also here. And let's scroll down to see what else was inserted directly from the wizard. Yeah, change or status of termination of contract. So upon change of employment or termination of employment, HR manager must immediately inform, and so on. So this came through the wizard. If you remember, this is what he entered there. Of course, you will see still these comments which explain you what you could fill out, what you can enter, and you can change this into something different. So HR administrator, so you don't have to follow the things that the wizard inserted. So the point here is, the more you use this wizard, the more the system will understand about your company, and the more suggestions you will get through the wizards, and the quicker you will be when you write these documents. Hope this was helpful, and to see this access control policy for yourself, sign up for the free trial of NIS2 Toolkit. Click the link to the toolkit in the description below, and you'll be able to see the free demo of this document and also other documents from the toolkit, and you can also try how this document wizard works. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, and you can also subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking the subscribe button below, not to miss my new videos. Thanks for watching!